Hello everyone, my name is Min, and in this video I'll be doing a walkthrough of Albert's carbon calculator. In this video I will be covering a quick introduction to Albert, a brief summary of the carbon calculator methodology, how to create an Albert account, how to use the carbon calculator, and where you can find further help resources. Albert is a leader for environmental sustainability within the TV and film industry. We support the industry with eliminating its environmental impacts as well as developing on-screen content that is compatible with a sustainable lifestyle and industry. On our certification toolkit, we have two main tools. The carbon calculator is a method of measuring your carbon footprint, whereas the carbon action plan is a method of reducing your carbon footprint. These are separate tools, but in order to be certified by Albert, you must start your carbon action plan during pre-production. Another mandatory part of the carbon action plan is that you've started a draft footprint so you can project how much your footprint is going to be. We also have an extensive reporting function available where you can create several different types of report. You can read our methodology paper on the production resources page, but I'm going to summarize a little bit about it at the start. Our calculator covers aspects of scope 1, 2 and 3 emissions and aligns with the greenhouse gas protocol. Many of the carbon factors used in the tool have been taken from the UK Department for Environmental, Food and Rural Affairs. In order to make the tool more relevant to international productions, we also have a database of over 300 electricity emission factors for different countries and different regions. To help productions input data as easily and accurately as possible, we've built benchmarks for entries like home office, studio, production office and accommodation, among many others. We've also created some spend benchmarks for areas relating to transport, materials, and production offices. All benchmarks are built using the data we've been collecting in our tools for the past 11 years, along with external resources, and we are constantly updating our toolkit to make sure that it is up to date and accurate as possible for you. We'll move to the next point of our agenda, which is how to create an Albert account. To create an Albert account, please go to the login page, and if you don't have an account already, there's a button at the bottom and you can fill in a form and a member of our team will be in contact shortly to set that up for you. I'm going to log in now. Here, if you have multiple permissions, you'll be brought here where you can select which account you would like to enter. We have 3 tiers of production company accounts. As a user, you can create, edit, and view all productions that you're assigned to as a user. As a reviewer, your permissions are exactly the same as a user. As a company admin, you can create, edit, and view productions. You can also create, edit, and view users within the company as well. As a broadcaster, commissioner, or funder, we only have admin accounts. This means that you can view all the productions that are assigned to your company as a broadcaster, but you cannot create or edit any entries. Again, if you do not currently have an Albert account, please use our account request form to request an account. Let's look at your productions. When you log on, you'll be taken to your productions page where you'll see all the productions you've been assigned to. If you need to set up a new production, click on Add Production in the top right here and you can begin entering the production details. All the starred fields are mandatory fields, so please do fill them in. So I'm going to start with the production name. I'm going to go ahead and add one called Dummy. The period name refers to the series, the film block, or if it's a feature, you can just put in the year or just the number. I'm going to say mine was a drama series. I'm going to go ahead and say season 1. I'm going to put the production type as a TV program, the genre as a drama, production method as scripted. As you can see, the pre-production start date and the post-production end date are both mandatory fields, so please do fill them in. The production start date, the post-production start date, and the TX date are all optional, so do feel free to put them in if you have them to hand. The additional details include how many episodes you're recording. If it's a feature film, please do select 1. I'm going to say we had 10 episodes of my drama series. The running time of each episode in minutes, I'm going to go ahead and say it was 45 minutes each. And the budget, again, is a non-mandatory field. If you'd like to enter it, please feel free to. Please now put in the broadcaster, commissioner, or funder. When you're writing anything in these 4 boxes, please begin writing, wait a second, and a drop-down will appear. Please select the correct name from the drop-down rather than writing out the name in full. If your broadcaster does not appear here, please enter unknown, which I will be doing as well, as this is a dummy. For the user, your name will automatically be entered. The same goes for the reviewer. Please select their name from the drop-down menu. So I'll be selecting my colleague. Click Save Production and that will create the production and you'll be brought to this page here. As you can see, there are 3 tabs at the top here. You can see the production details, which is just the details you've just filled out, the carbon footprint tab, which we'll be going through today, and the carbon action plan tab, which my colleague will be going through in another video. Now I'm going to show you how to fill in the carbon footprint. On the carbon footprint and carbon action plan tabs, you'll see the help section and the notification tab on the right. If you're ever stuck, please have a look at these tabs. If your footprint or carbon action plan are ever sent back to you, or we have any comments about your production, we'll pop them in the notifications tab as well. While you'll be able to see that you have a new notification, we do not receive notifications or any comments made. You can see the new footprint format has been condensed from 7 sections to 3 sections, which are energy, travel and accommodation, and materials and disposal. If you also click on the question marks, we have also updated the help text, so please do have a look at that if you're struggling in the first instance. So now I'm going to move into the energy section. The energy section incorporates all your energy usage, whether that be your production office, working from home, or filming on location, for example. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to add an entry. As before, please fill in all the starred fields, including a space nickname. I'm going to go ahead and call this space a production office, and then I'm going to select that as the space as well. As you can see, there's another question now, whether it's mains or non-mains energy. Mains energy refers to electricity delivered through the grid, whereas non-mains energy refers to energy from alternative sources, including generators. I'm going to say we use mains energy as we were in a building, and as you can see here, some toggle buttons come up. Please select all the energy types that you've used within the office, whether that be electricity, gas for heating, and water. I'm going to say we use all of them, so I'm going to click the toggle buttons accordingly. Once you've selected the toggle buttons to correspond to the energy types you're using, you will then be given the question, how are you measuring your consumption? You can either guess a meter reading from your building, or you can use the benchmarks provided. I'm going to go ahead and use the benchmarks provided, as I cannot get the meter reading. You will then be asked to select the type of office. I'm going to go with an open plan, no aircon, and the number of people and the number of days. I'll go ahead and 20 people working for 50 days each. I'm going to go ahead and do that for the gas consumption as well. Again, I'm going to use the benchmark. Again, same type of office, 20 people, 50 days. And I'm also going to add in my water consumption, which again, 20 people for 50 days. Then I'm going to click finalize, and as I know it's set in stone, and it will come up with an emissions figure. Please note that you can save entries as drafts or finalize them. If your entry is not certain or set in stone, you can save it as a draft to project your overall footprint, but you will only be able to submit your footprint for audit once all entries are finalized. Please also note that even if entries are finalized, you can still go back in and edit them. I'm going to go ahead and show you one more example from the energy section. I'm going to say we use generators on location, and I'm going to add that in now. So I'm going to name the space as generator. I'm going to select the space as on location, and then I'm going to select non-mains energy. I'm going to say we are really good and we use HVO waste fuel, which can... I'm also going to go ahead and show you one more example for the energy section. While we are filming on location, I'm going to say we use a generator. So I'm going to name the space generator. I'm going to select the space as on location. Then I'm going to select non-mains energy, and I'm going to say we are really good and we used HVO waste fuel in our generators. So I'm going to go ahead into the drop down, I'm going to select biodiesel, and then a subtitle will come up, and then there you can select HVO waste fuel. Then I'm going to say we used 1,000 litres of this, and then I will click finalise as I know it's happened and I know it's accurate. I'd also like to point your attention to a new benchmark we've added and a new entry called Volume LED. This is to reflect the growing prominence of virtual production within the industry. So as you can see, I'll just give you an example of the Volume LED benchmark. If I go into mains energy, you can see there's benchmarks provided for electricity and gas consumption, and then you need to input the number of LEDs, the size of the LED panels, the area of the LED wall, and the number of days that you're using the stage. These benchmarks are based off the average energy consumption of various stages in the UK, and they'll continue to improve as we get more data for them. I'm now going to head on to the materials and disposal section. This is where you list what you've used and how you got rid of them. These are now combined as one section to encourage productions to think about them in correspondence. As you can see, when I go to add an entry, it will give you the option to select materials or disposal. I'm going to go ahead and give the space a nickname. I'm going to say I'm accounting for my timber usage for the sets I built, and I'm going to say we used it, so I'm going to select materials. I'm going to select timber as the material type, and then you can either input it as spend, dimensions, or weight. Spend is the least accurate option, so please, if you have the other two, please use them in the first instance. I'm going to go ahead and say I use 150 kilos of timber to build my sets, and then I'm going to click finalize. There's also a toggle button at the bottom here, which asks if your material is made from recycled content. If so, please flick the toggle button on and it will give you an emissions reduction. I'm also going to add in my food consumption. The general rule of footprint with the tool is that you should include anything that the production is paid for, which includes per diems or catering. Again, I'm going to go into materials. Since I ate the food, I'm going to select food as the material type, and I'm going to select chicken. I'm going to say we had 500 chicken meals over the course of production. Now I'm going to input my entry for costume usage. I'm going to go ahead, give the material a nickname. I'm going to select materials as I've used it. Then I'm going to go into textiles. I'm going to say the textile type was cotton. And I'm going to select the measurement method as quantity. Again, you can do it by weight or fabric dimensions, but I prefer to do it by quantity. And this will give you a list of product types, and then you can just input the number of the product that you've used. So I'm going to say we used 100 cotton t-shirts over the course of the production, and then I'm going to click finalize, and that will again give you an emissions figure. I am now going to input a disposal entry. Since we use costumes, I'm going to account that in this entry here. So I'm going to say costumes, disposal, and then I'm going to select disposal. I'm then going to select what I'm disposing of, which is textiles. I'm going to say we are really good and we donated all our t-shirts to local schools in the area. And then again, you've had the option to measure it by weight or volume. I'm going to go ahead with weight. I'm going to say it was about 10 kilos for all those t-shirts. And then I'm going to click finalize. Donations obviously come out to 0 emissions, as there's no emissions associated with the product being donated. I'm also going to add a general waste disposal entry for the general waste over the course of production. I'm going to go in and select general waste disposal, and then select general/mixed, and then again you have the option of the disposal method. I'm going to say I don't know where it went, most probably landfill. Then I'm going to select the volume, and I'm going to say we had about 10 small wheelie bins that went to landfill, and then I'm going to click finalize. Finally, I am going to go on to the transport and accommodation section. This encompasses both your transport as well as your accommodation. Previously, these had been 2 different sections, but it should encourage productions to think about them in unison. If you're going to travel somewhere, you need somewhere to stay. Again, as you can see, you'll be able to select whether you're accounting for your transport or your accommodation when you add new. Again, the same fields apply. Please input a space nickname. I'm going to say I'm going to account for my air travel. Then I'm going to select the option here as transport. Since it's air travel, we have different types of transport on this section: air travel, road travel, rail travel. These are all derived from DEFRA. I'm going to go ahead and select air travel, commercial flight. There's also the options for private flights or helicopters. And there's 2 measurement methods. We'd always recommend going with distance, as it's more accurate than spend. And we also have a very good inbuilt calculator to calculate the distance between an origin and destination airport. So I'm going to say 20 of our crew flew from London Heathrow to Iceland to film on location. So as you can see, it automatically fills in the distance for you, so you don't have to look anything up. You can then select if it's a return trip. So I'm going to say yes as we flew back into London Heathrow Airport. And then I'm going to select the class of travel, which will be economy. And since we flew into Iceland, we obviously had somewhere to stay. So I'm going to go ahead and name the space Iceland Hotel. I'm going to accommodation. I'm going to say we stayed in a 3-star accommodation, so that corresponds to mid-scale. Please select the question mark if you are unsure what each of these titles correspond to. So there are 20 casts, so I'm going to say there are 20 bedrooms, and we all stayed for a week each. Then I'm going to click finalize. And as you can see, when you go back to the main menu, you can see a pie chart up here, which will give you a breakdown of your emissions. You can also see your total tons of CO2, you can see your emissions intensity per hour of screen TV, and your potential offset cost if you decided to. You can also see there's a button appearing down here called Submit for Audit. This is because all my entries are finalised, as you can see here. If you still had a draft entry, you would not be able to see this button. So please make sure each of your entries are finalised so you can submit it for audit. Once you have submitted for audit, please allow a member of our team to get back to you within 10 working days to check your footprint. You will receive an automatic email once it's been vetted or approved. Resources page, feel free to scan this QR code and it will take you directly to this web page.
What was it?
So this is the production resources page. If you click I am filling out a carbon footprint here, it will lead you to all the resources and all the information I've just gone over, including the link to the account request form, our suppliers list, and our information about offsetting, as well as the calculator methodology, which I went over very briefly earlier. Thank you sincerely for taking the time to watch this walkthrough. I hope you found it informative. If you have any questions regarding your footprint, then please contact albert@bafta.org. That is albert@bafta.org. Thank you for listening.